Hello, back again. In this tutorial, we will resume from the previous tutorial. And in the previous tutorial, our rigid body was attached to this cube named with the skinned mesh renderer on. Now we will copy this component and remove this component, and then we will go to this further component runner, and we will simply click on three dots on any of these and paste component as new, and our rigid body component will be transferred from here to here. And since we deleted this here, so no longer rigid body component won't be here. So what's the benefit of using rigid component? What's the benefit of using rigid body here? So what it will do is that it will apply the physics on all of these children's objects. This is skinned mesh. These are the what is called skeleton. Yeah, this is the rigged skeleton of this skinned mesh. So even though when we applied this skinned mesh, it didn't apply on the skinned mesh, was because the reason was the skeleton was missing. This was the skeleton, this armature, along with this rigging data from the examiner. So what we did was we went to the runner game object, and on the runner game object we are applying rigid body. So what will happen is that physics should apply on this character and along with every child object of this one. So what it means is that, as we can see, this is our character placing resting on the floor. So what happens if we I will move this game character to here, and now what I will do is make that this character go up in direction, and from here we will stop it so it can fall down. And now since this kinematic was turned on, so no physics was applied, but when we turn it off, physics will apply by default. And what this means is that this character will fall down like how physics work, how unity physics works. So when we turn it off, our whole character drop down. So when I press pause and take it to the same height again, and when I unpause this character will fall again, since this kinematic is turned off. Yeah, so let's drop it, and when dropped, it founded the floor, and once it started colliding with the floor, it told you that I am colliding with the floor. And how it's telling that it's colliding with the floor, we will look at this next. So we go to tutorial again, and this was the tutorial movement script was applied again. We will uncheck this and see if it tells again. So we check again. Let's drop it from the same height. This is the runner, and this is where we're going to drop it from. Turn it back to kinematic, turned off, and started colliding with the floor. This is written again. So it's telling that I am colliding with the floor again. So this is what we wanted. Now we will save the progress, and in a second what we did was we removed this script. So let's remove the component, and now we will check here. Now we want to decide that if we want to go with unity physics, which is once the unity physics are turned on, it means some additional computations will be done. That is unity physics system, which is not a bad thing. Unity physics system is a great system. but for our game's sake, which doesn't have to use intensive physics of unity, we can simply also for demonstration purposes we can simply turn it off, and when this character will move, we will see other side of collisions, that is on trigger enter, sorry, on trigger enter, that doesn't use the physical collision. So, and also before starting that, let's make a note how our how it told us that trigger enter was working, or how OnCollision enter was working. So right now, if you see, it gave us starting colliding with the floor. On starting colliding with the floor, it doesn't give us starting overlapping with. So what this means is that OnCollision enter worked, but on trigger enter didn't work because started overlapping with the floor, didn't played once, didn't showed once. Yep. So we have to figure out the difference between the two, and OnCollision enter and on trigger enter and OnCollision enter, and how the colliders interact. So in both cases, you have to have two objects with box colliders on, specifically. Again, colliders are of different types, so if you can forget this and just take take that how there are two colliders, let us say box colliders, one on a character, one box collider is on a character, and other is on floor, and two others are on left side of the wall and the right side of the wall. So in both cases, just simply putting these colliders won't work unless this rigid body is not attached, or even if the rigid body is attached and the kinematic is turned on, then it would behave different. That is, to physics, for physics to work, this kinematic has to be turned on. And now we will take a look. OnCollisionEnter, use when you want physical collisions. So right now, when our collision was physical, when the object fell from sky, when our character fell from sky, what happens is that it triggered collider. This one, that is, it jumped right directly on this function, on this one, OnCollisionEnter, along with the collision data. It must have a rigid body, and yes, we had a rigid body on a character. So this is what they asked for. Good for things like a player hitting a wall or ball bouncing. What is on trigger enter? It is used to detect the overlaps but don't want physical response. So when we don't want the physics to be active, then this trigger needs to be true, and at least one rigid body, at least one have to be a rigid body and no physical rate. So in next tutorial we will see how on trigger enter works and how we can use this on this tutorial. Thank you.